Okay, today we're going to look at top 10 signs that you may be a fundamental Christian. That would be a person who probably believes the world is only 6,000 years old and a lot of other things that they're trying to believe that science and basically all reality shows is not true. Starting at number 10, you vigorously deny the existence of thousands of gods claimed by other religions, but seem to feel outraged when someone denies the existence of yours. You feel insulted and dehumanized when scientists say that people evolved from other life forms, but you have no problem with the biblical claim that we were created from dirt. Or the claim that a woman grew from a rib and ate from a magic tree because a talking snake told her to, and you're still fine with that. Number 8. You laugh at polytheists, but you have no problem believing in a triune God. Yes, where there's actually three in together at one. And then if you figure in the angels and all the saints, they have a polytheistic belief right there inside of it that hasn't really changed, has it? Number 7. Your face turns purple when you hear of the atrocities attributed to Allah. But you don't even flinch when hearing about how God Jehovah slaughtered all the babies in Egypt in Exodus and ordered the elimination of entire ethnic groups in Joshua, including women, children, and trees. In fact, they talk about how they enjoyed dashing the babies' heads on the rocks and things like that, but that's all supposed to be in order to invoke your religion versus the one that apparently those people had. And if we look into it, that's where it all came from in the first place. You laugh at Hindu beliefs that deify humans, and Greek claims about gods sleeping with women, creating babies, and so on. But you have no problem believing that the Holy Spirit impregnated Mary in the same manner, who then gave birth to a man god who got killed and came back to life and then ascended, flying into the sky with no proof. You're willing to spend, number 5, you're willing to spend your life looking for little loopholes in the scientifically established age of Earth, which is a few billion years old, by the way. But you find nothing wrong with believing dates recorded by Bronze Age or Iron Age tribesmen sitting in their tents and guessing that the Earth is just a few generations old. Strangely. You believe that the entire population of this planet, with the exception of those who share your beliefs, though excluding those in all rival sects, will spend eternity in an infinite hell of suffering, and yet you consider your religion the most tolerant and loving somehow. Number 3. While modern science, history, geology, biology, and physics have failed to convince you otherwise, some idiot rolling around on the floor speaking in tongues supposedly may be all the evidence that you need to prove Christianity. You define 0.001% as a high success rate when it comes to answered prayers. You consider that to be evidence that prayer actually works, and you think that the remaining 99.999% failure was simply the will of God. Well, if there's a divine plan and a will of God, if you're praying for it and it doesn't happen, that's because it's not part of the plan. See, you can just talk your way right out of it. Number 1, you actually know a lot less than many atheists and agnostics about the Bible, Christianity, and church history and the actual religion itself, but you still call yourself a Christian. And quite often you consider yourself to be an expert on the topic. It's looking for loopholes that people try to find so they can prove the existence of God. If no one can explain it, then it has to have been God, right? Well, modern science, history, geology, biology, and physics have shown us that that's not necessarily true. Although I've seen Christians even try to claim that dinosaurs were Jesus' horses, and also try to say that the devil put all of the dinosaur bones down in the ground and made each one dated to different dates, but way back millions of years in history, just to try to fool you into believing something that they think is false, whereas they don't seem to think that the lie that they tell about whenever humanity started out is not a farcical tale. Also, you are willing to believe that everybody came out of a boat that landed in the Caucasus Mountains from Noah's idea, and of course the idea that you could fit all the animals on there is shattered to begin with, but that also somehow all the people on the planet, including sub-Saharans and Eskimos and Amerindians, Orientals and Aborigines, were somehow mentioned in that Bible whenever it's all Caucasians coming out of that boat that were all closely related to each other, only trying to tell you a local story and something that was never supposed to be for the whole world. But when they wanted to use it to try to take over the whole world, they added the simple phrase, and the waters went over the hills, and then, wow, they had that, when it's actually a Sumerian tale in the first place of a flood. And then there was a flood before that, thousands of years before, around the Black Sea, that drove these people down and into other countries. So if you find yourself believing these things, you probably are considered somewhat of a fundamentalist Christian, but you're also willing to suspend reality to try to come up with it. See, it's like whenever they have Santa Claus and they try to tell you that there's no way he could go to all the houses. The kids finally get smart enough. There's no way he can make it to all the houses. And somehow you can placate them from another year or two by just telling them, oh, well, he goes east to west, traveling with the time as it goes east to west. So it gives him a lot more time. As if you could even have done one house's, all the children in one small town in one night. But you have to suspend that disbelief to even get there in the first place, to have the question. It's kind of odd. Let me know what you think downstairs. I bet you could come up with 20 or 30 more that show you this type of thing, where people just deny reality to retain a belief that science and all else in humanity has shown that that's not actually true. Somehow you have people believing in the Noah's Ark story and tell you that they only took one certain kind of animal, but you're to believe that those kinds can easily morph into all the different forms. Like, say, they only had one kind of cat on the ship, but after they let it out, with just a few thousand years here, they can all morph into all the different cats, lions, puma, cougar, everything, get all over the planet, other side of the world, everything else, and become radically different. That sounds remarkably like extremely fast evolution. So they believe in fast evolution like that, but they don't believe it could go any slower like what science actually shows us. Kind of leaves you dumbfounded whenever you know and you're on the other side of the fence looking back and you see all the people running around like sheep, doesn't it? Let me know what you think down below. We'll get on to another interesting topic. Peace.